Today I'm going to introduce you to a message from a guide of mine called Matilda. Now, there are in this world many things beyond our five senses, and guides, light beings, angels, earth spirits, the many and the wondrous are within our reach. And many of us, I think everybody, can actually do something what I call channeling. And channeling, so some famous examples would be the Hicks, Esther, Jerry Hicks with Abraham, and Lee Carroll with Chiron. And there's so many and wonderful people out there who've been doing this for a quarter of a century or more, those people who've been doing it that way. And I feel that we're all capable through our sixth sensory ability of having communication just in the same way as a radio antennae, into introducing ourselves to other thought forms, other consciousness, other beings within this soup of creation. I think in many ways, I feel the word channeling is getting outdated and is almost, maybe we need to think of a new way of describing all of this because it's becoming more and more common. The best thing, if you're ever going into any of this, in my view, just my view, is to always communicate with yourself first. So finding out where you end and other things begin is absolutely wonderful. It's a journey of inner landscapes. It's a journey of your own intuitive development. And the voice to listen to the most in our life every single time is your higher self, is your authentic self, your sovereignty, your heart. When you're listening to that, when your guidance is coming from the best of you, when your guidance is coming from your soul voice, that knows everything that is best for you in this life and any other, quite frankly. So that's the one to listen to. But in the same way as we all need others' views and we like to hear what other people have to say, and people are experts in different fields, then channeling can come into its own. And I offer webinars which are called tune-in sessions. There's one this coming Friday on the 22nd of October. And they're for 3 hours, and during that time I channel, communicate with, act as a messenger for many light beings. I call them the cosmic beings, and other beings of light, angels, all sorts of things. And lots of interesting information comes through about our state of our world and what the bigger plan is. And then we go into like questions that you get to ask me on a very personal basis, and I'm sure that the answers actually help many people. And we also include a guided meditation, which is to levitate us, if you like. Is to alleviate the pain and suffering, and moving to a space of laughter, of fun, of dedication, of spirit, of sacredness, of peace, of bliss. So those are the tune-in sessions. If ever you fancy joining those, they're just a £33 exchange. They're all recorded. You can watch them and have access as many times as you like. And if you want to join me live for that one, it's 9 till 12 a.m. UK time this coming Friday. Okay. So the reason I'm mentioning that first is because I want to introduce you to a guide of mine called Matilda today, who's very earthy. But she, there's going to be an expansion. There's only so much I can fit into this video today, and then we'll be expanding on lots of it on Friday. So I'll introduce you to Matilda. Well, what can we say about Matilda? So a lot of the light beings that I actually sort of channel messages for are of a very high vibration, and Matilda is a guide. So there's a very big difference from in energetics, in frequency, as to where you bring in different beings from, whether it's a passed over loved one, or whether it's a guide, or whether it's angels, or so on and so forth. And Matilda's just lovely. Okay, so she first swarmed into my life when I was very interested in herbal medicine, and I was very interested in the essence of a plant or a herb or a tree in the medicine of the natural world. And she introduced herself and she gave me a story. She gave me lots of stories, but in a nutshell, her last life here was one of a Yorkshire hag, is what she is calling herself. And in those days, she said it meant basically that she lived on her own, the edge of a village, near a wood, where she could have the peace of nature, and yet she was there to be of service and assist anybody that needed anything, whether that was childbirth, helping people pass over, whether it was tinctures, remedies, whatever it happened to be, and just companionship and helping people through some tough times. So she basically came in to assist me in connecting in, showing me the way, really her way, one way of connecting into the essence of plants. And she's been with me ever since. So sometimes when we have courses and gatherings and various things like that, Matilda comes swanning in because she's got a particular message for somebody, or she's got a particular idea about something that she just wants to share. And to be honest, most people really like what Matilda has to say. She does call a spade a bloody shovel. She is very grounded. She's very... there's no airy-fairy business about it, and she's very practical. She came in not so long ago, actually, late spring, early summer, sometime like that, to actually give us warning, heads up, we call it, a Matilda heads up. She gave us some heads up on the fact that the supplies of food and various goods and various things for the household would be interrupted. This is way before the supermarkets and various places had gaps on their shelves, but she was ahead of the game then. She gave us the heads up then about, you'll be in the middle of making a cake or something and there'll be an ingredient missing and you won't be able to get that as easily. So there was no panic there was no main shakes, but it was just basically giving us some advice about what was going on and what was coming. Then just recently, she's also come in and said that this winter we will have globally more power cuts than we're used to. And so she was just suggesting that we get some form of heating alternative if you're reliant on electric, and maybe some candles in, maybe some batteries for your torches. Again, no great shakes. She's only talking about half a day rather than a few hours or an hour. It extended to a good half a day or more now, actually, for the UK, and a couple of days for the States, 3 days for Canada. So she's sort of giving us some information about, well, might as well just get a little bit in to prepare so you have more ease in your life. And this is Matilda's, what she brings. She's looking to assist in happiness for you, in ease, a life of grace, one of love, lots of laughter, being really earthed. She's very, very earthy, being really earthed and enjoying life as much as we possibly can. So a little while ago, Matilda said humanity has got a fork in the road coming up, and she said the decision would be made, or she would be able to talk to me about it on the 17th and 18th of October. And I've sat with her and I've communicated and I've channeled some information and I've actually written it all down. So that's why I'm going to be looking down quite a bit today with you, because I've made lots and lots of notes, because there's no way I'll remember all this lot. But she wants to offer this as a way of another heads up, as a way of aligning with the energies that are concurrently here, and that will be here, sometimes just for a short time. Sometimes she's talking about a 5 to 7 year period. So there's quite a lot of information here. I recommend you go get yourself a cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever it is that feels good for you. And then let's get into Matilda's message. This isn't a live channeling, it's one that I've actually just written down from her. At some stage, if you're interested in live channelings of different beings, then let me know and I'll see what I can sort for you. we'll do some of those on YouTube if you like. Maybe we can do some YouTube lives. Anyway, I'm getting beyond myself. So shall we see what she says? So the pathway she reckons now is humanity has chosen. She says she's chosen one, we have chosen one, of greatness. So humanity's on a pathway of greatness. So if you needed a great big banner for this whole lot of information that we're going to talk about, then greatness would be the one to go away with. If that's all you wanted to know, see you sometime soon. But if you're interested in more and the how-tos and some practicalities, because she loves giving us practicalities, then stick with me. So she said what it needs is we're going through a time where we're going to shake everything up. So we're going to shake everything up. And then she said, shake it all out like in the spring when you're spring cleaning and you get a blanket and give it a good shake out, or you get a rug that you give it a good shake out, get all of the debris and all the dust away. And then she said, we're going to be building anew. So those are the stages. It's shaking it up, shaking it out, and building anew. And when she talked to me about building anew, she gave me visions of bridges. So bridges of friendship, bridges across countries, bridges within yourself, bridges to relationships. So a lot of building new bridges. So this is quite interesting actually. So the feel of it, when I connected with Matilda, the feel of it was that humanity has chosen a higher pathway. What that means is the frequencies that have supported fear, suffering, pain, separation are less evident, and the frequencies that support loving exchange, support, co-creation, cooperation are strengthening. So Matilda's view and teaching here is that every single human has the potential of being great at something. And it's actually finding that out for yourself. What is it that you feel great about, maybe? And going down that pathway of actually spending more time creating the energy and the purpose with what feels good than what doesn't. So she says, familiar pathways, these are specific words, familiar pathways are trodden, appearing new, allowing your eyes to see. And again, in an example there, she's saying, like, say you're having a walk in the woods. I walk in the woods each day and it's like a familiar pathway. But you know how sometimes it has that feeling of, oh, I know this is familiar, but it appears new. Lots more opportunity for that to happen. And that's if that does happen and you notice that's happening to you, where you're going down the same pathways, the same streets, driving, wherever it is, and it's like, oh, you have a little glitch in time that says, oh, this feels different. Oh, what's going on? It's new. Something new about it. So just recognize that you've entered a vibration, a frequency of essence there, where you can actually access this information, this world, with different eyes. Your abilities to see truth, your abilities to see the depth of colour, your abilities to see has changed in a higher dimensional way. And if you allow yourself to stay in that zone and not panic and just go with the flow, it's going to be fascinating to see what it is you can then see. And she says unfamiliar territory appears out of the blue. So there's going to be quite a lot of invitation into new areas in our lives, invitation to be different, invitation to access information in a different way. She's very, very excited. She came across very, very excited for this next bit and saying new discoveries, there's new discoveries coming, and humanity and science and spirituality all coming together to produce new discoveries across the board of life. So she was getting really excited about new discoveries about the human body, you know, things we've never known before that have always been there, but we're just finding out about. She says there's new discoveries coming out about how to treat illnesses that are less barbaric. There's new discoveries about how to heal our oceans and the land. There's new discoveries. Oh, she was going on about the energy. She's saying for a long time now we've had free energy available. It's just that the global energy, the world energy, if you like, has fallen more into the control and fear and suppressed and that kind of vibe, and sort of all following a leader. We needed a leader to follow, etc., etc. And now what's actually happening is we're being invited to be the leader of our own life. The voice of the people is coming out. And so she's saying the free energy is humanity is getting ready for those inventions to be available to all. Not yet, because there's still power games and stuff going on, but it's there. She's saying that one does not have to be invented. It's there. It's just getting the climate right, if you as it were, for that to be born into when enough of humans can actually hold that energy, can maintain that energy, welcome it, and use it for the good of all, not the few. So she says, for all of these changes, we need to dig deep and take purchase deep inside our bodies and our souls, really to sort of spend time every single day in a bit of dedication time to your inner landscapes, to you, your heart, your soul, your body. So she's just given us a heads up that there's some very, very turbulent times ahead. And she's saying, if you can imagine a strong river and it's had lots of rain and it's really the rapids, and all you can do is stay in the boat and hold on to the sides and you're gripping it tightly and it's like, but you know, some of you will enjoy that sort of ride and some of you won't. But you'll all experience turbulent energy. But she says, hang on in there, do the best you can whilst those energies are going on, because guaranteed at the end of that is a wide open, calm lake. And when we enter that particular energy field, we're encouraged and supported in just pulling up on the bankside, making campfires, camping out, building things, creating things, taking some time, having some ease, evolving. She says that's very much the lake time to her is very much a time for us to process the rapids and to evolve. It's an evolution time. And what I've always referred to as plateau time, when you have those huge growth times and then it's like, it's a plateau, and some people, and I used to be like, oh no, I don't want a plateau, I want it to be all growth. It's like, oh seriously? Now with hindsight I'm like, if a plateau comes up, just enjoy it, just really enjoy it, relax, enjoy it. So this is more than a plateau time, she's saying. It's a time of expansion still. It's a time of regrouping and just checking in with ourselves about what changes have actually happened to us and our community and our world, and to almost form a new foundation for the next set of rapids that then appear. We get in the boat, we decide to go for it, and off we go again on another adventure. And there's many of those, but there's some of the rapids are like, there's 3 or 4 rapids quite close together over the next 2 years, 2.5 years, and definitely lakes in between. So she asks us to learn, she calls it free falling. She's asking us to learn to free fall. And she says this is really, really different from letting go, although it might sound similar. We've had lots of practice, she says, in the 3D reality of letting go, haven't we? You know, one of the gifts of the pandemic experience has been, what are the benefits? You know, what benefits have you had from it? And people have come back to me and said, oh well, I've decided I like working in this way or for so many days and not in that way, and I love doing this and I don't like that, and I've realized I want more of this. Very, very personal, but we've got more information about how we live and what is really important and what we're not prepared to negotiate anymore, but we are actually wanting to change life so that it includes those things. So the letting go is we've practiced that a lot. You know, we've let go of friendships, maybe different types of work, houses, all sorts of different things. But this one, she's saying we need to be steadfast for the next 5 to 7 years, and learn gently and encouraging with each other about what's replacing the idea of letting go. And what's come in instead of letting go is not holding. She's calling it, in Matilda speak, not holding. So just go into that for a minute, see how it feels. And let me know, comments feel, how does it feel not holding? Just sending that energy to you about what it felt like with Matilda, not holding. And the idea about this is when we make space for ourselves and others with hands that are loose rather than tight. So in the boats we're like this. So hands that are loose, we're free flowing. And we open our hearts, really pull back the arms, look up. We move around in the world in this open-hearted, trusting nature. It has to build trust. And the first point of trust is within yourself. So she says everybody has a soul purpose in life. You know, we met as souls, we agreed what that purpose was, we embodied these physical bodies, and we're now doing our best to work within that soul purpose that we are uniquely made to be great at more than any other human on the planet. And for some people, making this particular transition into not holding is going to appear really alien. It's going to be, you will get some resistance to it. You will get some absolute flat out, nope, not interested. Nope, doesn't make sense. Nope. And I'd like you to be clear with yourself about why that is. If you had any resistance to it when you were checking in within yourself, when I invited you to there a few minutes ago, and it's because we've bought into the illusion of safety. You know, if you think about it, if you look at humanity's sort of journey over the last few hundred years, we've all needed leaders within the countries. We've needed leaders in our schools. We've needed leaders in our companies. Leaders, often in our homes. And it's shifted now to a point where we're looking to empower and be empowered ourselves for ourselves with our world. And to meet with equality other beings who are great at what they do. You're great at what you do. I'm great at what I do. And this idea of humanity moving into greatness means we revel in that. We actually enjoy the fact that you're brilliant at that. You're better at that than me. You're better at that. You're better at that. So we bring to the table something that's a cohesive community, and we can do great things. And what she's saying here, the not holding, the resistance to that is always about fear. So it's about, oh, I might not feel safe. I need to hold on to the side because that gives me safety. But she's saying the energy that it costs to actually hold on to that through fear is counterproductive now, because the energies and the frequencies around the world and in the cosmos that's being beamed down to the earth right now are not of that ilk. They're completely different. So holding space, something in our community and in therapies and various others, the idea has been, and it's worked exceptionally well, and I've practiced it a lot in my lifetime, is holding space for another. This is, in my view, where you just extend out your aura and your compassionate self to hold someone steady in a sacred space whilst they make their own transformations in their own choices in their own time. And she says, basically, that's over. Forget that one. Old paradigm, Carol. Over. Finished. There's no energy that can actually support that now. This is about not holding. So it's not holding any space for yourself or anyone else. So it was really, really interesting because I held a celestial attunement course a couple of weekends ago, both a few in person and the rest people joined us by Zoom. And it was really interesting because the way it worked for me, instead of holding space, I couldn't hold the space. It was like I don't know, it's also changeable at the moment. There's no particular way to purchase and earth yourself very deeply in one place at one time for a very long time. It's like moving. It's like, oh, well, I needed that yesterday, but I need this today. Oh, and that was this morning, and 5 minutes later, and now I need this. So we're in a time of free fall. We're moving about. We're seeing things upside down, roundabout, and therefore we've got different views, and it's moving all of the time. Sometimes very, very quickly, and other times very slow motion wise. So it's like everything's up for grabs. So during this time, what she's saying is forget holding space for yourself and everyone else. And instead, what I use for the course and what's worked for me really well this week, because it's also new, is intention. Now, I've always set an intention, whether it's a healing, whether it's a ceremony, ritual, whether it's a course, whatever it happens to be. But the quality of this one was very different. I felt the quality of energy for us at the beginning of that particular gathering course for the rest of this autumn and beyond was one of new beginnings. It was one of, let's start a new book. This isn't, the old book is finished. We've put it back on the shelf. It's no longer available. Someone else has booked it out. This is a new one. We're aware that we're writing a new story, a new beginning of a new life. And so when I set the intention for this particular gathering, I felt that the energy entered the actual fabric of the elements. It entered the actual fabric of the people who were being called by their souls to attend. It entered me through my heart and the very being of my soul. So it was much bigger, deeper, multi-layered, multi-dimensional as an intention, as a perfectly pitched invitation to come and join me to experience something that was coming through. And so people followed their hearts, followed their intuition, got over the analytical mind blockages that tend to come up for these things, so on and so forth. But they felt the call, they felt that intention. So I wasn't holding space as in setting space. It's a very different thing. So it's just something to think about, this idea of not holding. And it needs practicing. It really does need practicing. So have a go at practicing that, even if it's just the idea of I'm not holding on to anything or anyone for the next hour, and see how you go with that. Matilda then comes down to brass tacks. She's talking about practical practices, and she asks that we call into question of what we think we know. Okay, so she just wiped out the idea of needing kind of like any sacred space, any boundaries. You know, she talks about, when she's talking about space as well, she's saying we need to revel in the uniqueness of expression from the unlimited pool of opportunity. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Revel in the uniqueness of expression from the unlimited pool of opportunity, rather than fearfully holding space. In and of itself produces boundaries, walls, creating separateness, creating division and difference. So there you go. So that'll help. So yeah, this idea now of you know, I was walking through the wood, noticed a plant that I am very familiar with. I know its name, I know what it does, I know its properties, I know its qualities. And I was going through talking about this, and what she was, let's say it's a nettle as an example. So I see this nettle and she says, is it really? And it's the way she says it that kicks me off. So is it really? And I'm like, well, yeah, I know a nettle. When I see a nettle, that's definitely a nettle. I'm identifying that as a nettle. I know its qualities, I know what you can use it for, and I know what you might not want to use it for, and da-da-da. And she's like, is it really? So I sit down and look at this nettle. So what the invitation here is to question everything. And like I did with this particular plant, it was sitting with it so that I allowed myself to go, are you really a nettle? Who else are you? And that sense of inquiry through wonder, through curiosity, led me to a different experience with that particular plant. So I felt like I connected at a deeper level. There were no assumptions of what I'd been taught, no analytical mind confusion or stresses to say I have to remember that because that's right, or this and that and the other. It was like, no, that is right. So we've got that tick in the box, but this is about allowing yourself to commune, to merge, to investigate, to wonder with curiosity of your soul about who are you, nettle plant, or what else is in there. And so I just sat with that for a few moments. It doesn't take ages. And was washed over with different experiences of connection, information, and being. So it kind of enriched my experience with the plant kingdom. And so she says you can do it with like an apple or a crystal or something. It's like, I know you. And then you ask yourself the question, is it really? And then you allow yourself to stay in that moment, commune in a different way, relax, breathe, and allow that conversation to take place at a much deeper level. So she's saying we've been taught in this world that it's an ABC world. And in fact, it's always been the full alphabet. But in different parts of the world, it's ABC. So it's a certain aspect, a certain flavour of the world. In different parts of the world, it's MNO. In others, it's XYZ, LNO. It's all different. Wherever you go, it's different aspects of the one alphabet. But the globe is the one alphabet. And she's saying we really must now take that as an absolute foundation. We've all learnt what it means in these different parts of the world, what those different aspects of the one alphabet is. So it's one life, one world, but we see it, experience it, sense it through different ways. And she's inviting us now to be an eternal student and an eternal teacher. To come into the world of eternal student, eternal teacher, and find out what the rest of that alphabet works for you. And she's saying, look at those differences, find commonalities between them so you can accept, the alphabet. And you know that the alphabet, each individual character in the alphabet is different from another, but that we need all of them to make the stories. We need them all. You leave one out and your story's not going to make sense. So she says, let's actually group together as a global community. And this is the energy that's in. It's particularly going to take a lot of purchase. When I say purchase, I mean really deepening our existence with it from in 3 years' time plus. But you start it now. You get the heads up now. Anyone listening to this, we can start this now. And she said, once humanity as a whole has got that under their belt as their foundation, which needs to be done, then we've got another alphabet. And then we've got another alphabet. And then actually we've got another alphabet and another one, and it goes on to infinity and eternity. So we are at the very, very beginnings of our learning. This is brand new. We don't know much. We don't know. And what she's trying to say is there's a lot of information going to be coming in a very short period of time. 3, 5, 7 years is nothing. And so all of this, layers upon layers upon layers of knowledge, of investigation, of interpretation is coming through thick and fast. So she's suggesting that we start now with our own community, with our neighbours, with our family, with our friends, with our soul family, our groups, to get to know, right, what part of the alphabet are you then? And sort of learn from each other, be the eternal student. Everybody knows something. We can learn something from everybody. Okay. So, so she's saying start to question your own knowledge. Yes, it's definitely an apple that you might be holding, but what else is in there? And in this way, she's saying, have a look in the mirror. Have a look in the mirror. First thing every morning, like this morning, if you looked in the mirror and you looked at your face, be absolutely honest now, what was your response? Just name it for yourself at the moment. What was your actual response from looking in the mirror? Was it one of, oh my God, I'm tired, or I've got more lines, or I've got, this or that or the other, things that you would wish to change? Or was it, hello, gorgeous? I love you. Brand new day. Woo! Was it that? Or was it something in the middle? Was it something in the middle? Or was it something far worse or far better? What was it for you? Oh God, please tell me. Please let me know in some way. Comments field would be great. What is it? What did you get in the morning? And what she's saying is, let's get into a playful mood here, but also a dedication of purpose. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're going to see and respond to life from the face, from the body, from what you see, from the quick view. And then your analytical mind will be off because it's, you got to get showered, or you got to get dressed, or you got to do this and that and the other. And she's saying, what if we just keep looking at ourselves for a moment and say, who are you? Who am I? Is that me? Who am I? And allow yourself, in the same way that we did in the practice with the plant, practice with yourself. A self-discovery of just looking at yourself and your eyes. You see, the eyes are the windows of the soul, and there's so much information in there. And so it's spending time with yourself, just looking at yourself. Look at your eyes and stay there. To allow all of the chitter-chatter to go. To allow all of the judgments to dissipate. All the hangers-on of the old story about comparisons. Stop holding it. Go into the non-holding. And ask, who's there? Is this really me? Who else am I? And allow those layers of soul wisdom. Allow those layers of eternity. Allow those layers of ancient wisdom to surface. Allow those layers of fun, of zest for life to reappear. Allow those hopes, those dreams, those living in bliss, grace, wonder and peace to evolve within you, because we're all made up of them. They're in there somewhere. So keep asking the question, and that's self-discovery. So she's also saying, oh my gosh, you've all been far too serious recently. Let's have some fun. She's saying, bring in the fun, bring in the play, find out what it is you love to do and do more of it. Not as a distraction from life, but as an inclusive creation ability within life, so that we actually get stronger. The parts of our brain and the parts within us get stronger, so that we can hear the whisper of our soul more frequently. So she's saying, do creative projects, play more, have some fun, and let yourself feel loose. Really let yourself feel loose. Hang loose. I mean, she's got like the soft hands, and she's saying hang loose. She's quite serious about that, actually. You know, she's very like, now listen, hang loose. She's got the finger wagging job going on. And that's where it gets a bit serious as far as Matilda goes. It's like she's saying everybody's holding their bodies as if they're in adrenaline system, fight, flight or freeze. It's like, do we fight? What are we doing? And there's so much of that going on in the world at the moment. She's like, and there's all this other energy that's free flowing, that's like, hey man, yeah, let's have some of that. She's saying the other's available, that's available, so make room for it. Relax, let your body flow freely, sort your muscles out. Relax. Oh, and barefoot walking is a fantastic way of doing that, because you get nurtured by the earth energy, your zest naturally returns, you get restored, and harmony does come back into place. There is an earthing video that I've put up. Please join me on that if you've never done that before. And even if you have and you need a reminder, or you need some motivation and encouragement, because the benefits are beyond what I can list here at this moment in time. Oh, and check out there's an hour's film on the Gaia channel if you want to break from Netflix and go onto Gaia. And just put in earthing. And there's one with all the science behind why it's so beneficial to our health. So that might be something that you could do. Okay, so she's saying, okay, last bits. She's reminding you that all of this change is here for you now, and not to be had just in the future. It's not something that, you know, oh, we're waiting and suffering until the great day comes where the curtain's drawn back and there's the heaven on earth possibilities. She's saying it's here now, it's there. It's about us, and I've said this before actually, so this is a repeat, and it's about us raising our vibration, doing things within ourselves and externally, so we can access this new world, the wonder. And I'm going to be offering some gatherings, you know, morning sessions and various things to help us with that, because there's new information coming through about intuitive development and how we do that, and simple, easy practices, and we can have a nice, easy gathering to do that over the winter. So she says one of the things that's going to be happening is we're going to be gathering a lot more information, as we've already said, and about what she calls the real world now, what's available now, the good stuff that's available now. And she's saying we need to do this individually, and we then fall into an experience of richness. So by individually looking after yourselves, in your growth, in what you're thinking, what you're doing, in line with what she's already said, you know, the not holding and all the things that we've said so far. She's saying keep doing that for yourself. What will actually happen is you set a new frequency. So you set a new message out to the universe. And then it's really, really important to focus on your own pathway. And your own pathway, she's saying, when you get to that lovely vibe, is one of quality, greatness and richness. And it takes dedication and it takes patience. She's saying you don't have to rush it all. You know, if you've got your favourite meal on the go and it's in the oven, you're not rushing it so you can enjoy eating it. You know and understand it's going to take the alchemical process of merging the flavours in order for you to thoroughly enjoy the end result in a rich way. So that's an example for that. Enjoying the now is a major practice. Find something, some meditation, something where you just lose time so that you can stay within the stillness for yourself, to practice getting these messages, these whispers of spirit through for yourself. So enjoy the journey. She's saying just enjoy this journey. It's awesome. She thinks it's amazing, and she's really quite glad that humanity's chosen this way. So she's saying as a last message, take care of yourself. I'll read this bit out. Take care of yourself, then gather as equals to match the frequency. So you'll be drawn into different groups, different courses, different, whatever it happens to be, so that you can share some of who you are with each other. It's very, very important to have some alone time in nature, because if you're with anyone else, then you're sharing their frequency, and it's really nice to know what your own frequency, your own voice, your own smell, your own self is. And if you sit alone, you can actually allow your mind to do what it needs to do, and allow your body and allow your interaction with nature. But then it's exceptionally important also for our balance to be in groups. We are pack animals. We like to get together majoritively. And you will be choosy about who you need to be with, because as you oscillate in your frequency of creation and growth and evolution, so will everyone else. And you might have, Metatron showed me many years ago, lots of different campfires around the world, and you might be particular and partial to 3 at the same time, 5 at the same time, 15, or 1 for many, many, many years. It doesn't matter. What matters is you find your own comfort zone, your own zone where you're enriched, where you're loved, where you're encouraged to be all that you can be, with no comparison and judgment. And she gave me this example of what's really happening here is an example that we've used many times before, the beginning bit, where you've got your caterpillar that goes into the cocoon, you get all mushy and things break down, shake it up, shake it out, and then you've come out as a butterfly. You've built your bridge. So that was the first thing she told us after the greatness. And she's saying that's the foundation. That's what we think we know is true. But she said what actually happens then is we all come together as butterflies. So our frequency is, and we understand, who are we? We're all butterflies. Great. But when we gather, what do we become? We become a new form. We emerge as something different again. And whatever that new form is, we go off into the world, we go in our own self, with our own company, and then our frequency changes again. We add different notes, we have different experiences. We come together as that new form together again. We morph again, we evolve into something else, another new species, and another new species, and another new species, and another new aspect of the human. So we've got a lot to look forward to. We've got a lot to take in with all of that. But she says, she says here, honour that need for alone time, particularly in nature. And then when togetherness happens, we take flight into the richness of existence. We together take flight into the richness of existence. I sincerely hope that you felt some of that love that comes through with Matilda, the fun stuff and the finger wagging and everything else that goes on. Matilda and I have done our best in serving you today with this message of humanity's choice at this time. And I look forward to meeting those that wish to be with me on Friday, or at some stage to get the recording, so that you can get your fulfillment and more information about this richness of existence. Lots to love, everybody. Soul to soul. Mwah. Bye for now.